I'm here to start some fights. Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be doing something that I did way back in Dawn of Ashes at the earlier stages of this channel. So we're doing it again as we're slowly getting towards ALC in the next couple of months, and we've had a little bit of Fractured Crown meta behind us. We're going to do another tier list. I really want to make this one and then compare it to the one we did in the past in a later video. But we're going to see the addition of Fractured Crown, the second set of Grand Archive, how it affected my opinions of what I think the strong decks are, and how it affected just decks in general. So before we get into that, I just want to say, disclaimer, this is all opinion-based of what I believe from looking at tournament reports, looking at local metas that people are posting, and just talking with people and my general perception of how I've felt playing these decks. I personally have tried to play every deck possible, just so I know how they work and what to expect and sort of what I like. Alrighty, so without further ado, I'm just gonna go ahead and slowly, not even slowly, it's gonna be quick. Alright, Fire Merlin, congratulations, you're S tier. You are the new hotness. You are the best deck in this current format. I don't think it's unbeatable. I just think it is very good and it has all the answers. Level 3 Merlin being the first champion to have access to dual class, being warrior and mage, is very strong. You get a free draw every other turn, and your kill card being the deer is just great. You have access to fireballs. The list goes on. The card's great. It's dethroned Wind Merlin, but we'll Wind Lorraine, but we'll get back to that. And now, this is where things start to get a little bit of interesting, because I think the next best deck in this game currently is going to be Fire Rai, or up there in S tier. Fire Rai is the one thing that keeps Fire Merlin in check. I really think Fire Rai is underrated for some of the amount of like damage and combos that it can do. It's just a very thinky kind of deck. You gotta really know how to use your brain and how to think. If I was rating it on my likes, I would probably put it down at the bottom, because I think Rai's a very boring deck to play and not fun, but it's good. I recommend it to people if they want to play something about combos and being able to like outsmart your opponent. I think Rai's the one for you. Now we're gonna move in next, because I just think like fire decks in general, fire decks in general are just very strong. I'm gonna put Fire Xander and Fire Tristan in A tier. The aggro variants of it are doing really well. In addition, the control Xander with Luxem package, which I will make a video about that here shortly. I've been really enjoying playing Luxem Fire Xander. It is my answer to Fire Merlin, and it does such a good job at countering it. And I'm really excited to share it with y'all in an upcoming video. Mark my words, if anyone else makes anything about Fire Luxem Xander, this is my proof that, you know, I've been working on that. I'm kidding. Anyways, moving on. With Ascent and seeing everything that did that, Fire Lorraine is still going to be up there. Gonna sneak in A tier. I don't think there is a bad fire deck. I guess you could throw Mordred in B tier. I would actually throw Sylvie above Mordred. Mordred just does what Lorraine does, but you have a weaker level 2. So if you're going to play Mordred Fire, just play Lorraine Fire. And then Alan, I will just throw it there. Sorry, I'm going to throw it like there. So that's all of our fire decks. Tamer's, I think, gotten better. Still not in a great spot, but it is way better than Dawn of Ashes had it at. And then we're going to go to Wind. Wind Lorraine, I actually don't think is as good as it used to be. And even after Ascent with the aggro Lorraine, I don't think it was Lorraine that did it. It was a very good call on the meta. They knew they were going to play against a lot of Merlins and Rise, and they had to be aggressive. So any people who brought Wind Lorraine was just going to be like an aggro rush beatdown, which I agreed with on that meta call, because I also brought aggro, but I went the Water Lorraine route instead of Wind. It just appears Wind has a little bit better removal with Dream Fairy and stuff like that to allow your matchups more favorable into Merlin. So with that, I think Wind Lorraine has fallen off quite a bit. I'm going to put it in A tier, especially if you go the Crux package. You lose a lot, and I think the Dungeon Guide nerf really hurt, in addition to the sort of Avarice ban. Now Wind Lorraine just kind of doesn't have a lot of draw that it needs. I should also mention Fire Merlin with the prismatic variants, very good. We're still doing Wind Merlin. I honestly don't see people playing Wind Merlin much. I'll put it at top of B because it's strong. I've played it a couple of times. It's fun. You do lean kind of more heavily into mage. It's just sort of, it feels lackluster compared to Fire Merlin because you just lose some of the draw, but you get more fun combo potential. Speaking of combo potential, Wind Rye is actually super surprising. I'm going to put it at the bottom of A tier. It's a very fun deck. You could take it in a couple different directions. And no matter what you do, it's just very enjoyable. I really recommend people who haven't tried it to try out Wind Rye and see for yourselves of like how it plays, because it has a nice mixture of allies and spells and a little like of combo. Anyways, Wind Tristan and Wind Xander. Ooh, this is tough. I've also been playing a lot of Wind Assassin. Assassin's been the flavor of the month for me for decks. I kind of got tired of playing nothing but Warrior, so been going through Assassin, cleansing the palette a bit. I think Assassin is going to be up there with Fire, and then Tristan is going to be top of B right here at Wind. Probably switch it like that. I do think Wind Xander is going to be slightly better than Lorraine. You could probably flip it. But honestly, the tools, and especially with the new Proxia's Vault card, the Insignia of the Korhazi, it adds for a really cool list with 1,000 refractions, being able to just draw up to 6 every turn, and you don't really run out of prep counters, things like that. Wind Tristan can't really take advantage of the new Proxia's Vault card, but I do feel like people are sleeping on Wind Ally Assassin just because you get access to Bushwhack Bandit, things like that. And I know some people have been posting lists about it in Discord, and I was like viewing them and watching what people are talking about. It's super, super cool. Wind Mordred, congratulations. You're just going to be chilling with Fire down there. Mordred's just one of those, is like, why play Mordred when you could play Lorraine? I feel like that's one of the bigger issues, at least with like some of these alternatives. Tristan has a really cool ability that Xander doesn't have. Alan has a good ability. Merlin has a good ability. Mordred just sits there doing nothing. And put Wind Alan at the top of C here. And then Wind Sylvie. Wind Sylvie just did take 2nd place or 3rd, I don't remember, at Houston. I think people have realized a way to play Sylvie finally. I know Water Sylvie's been getting some representation and some wins. And so I think the deck is good. It's just people are now figuring out, and the cards from ALC have helped with like the Bear, Bedivere, things like that. Honestly, if I were to place it, it would be somewhere in low A, high B, just because I feel like it does so... It does well if the player knows what they're doing, and I'm just going to high B. And then Wind Allen is high C. Alright, and now to the best element. I saved the best for last here. We're going to go to Water. We're going to start with Mordred. And, you know, I said Mordred sucks. I think Water Mordred's probably the best out of all the Mordreds. Even better than Wind Allen, just because of the silly Iran Light stuff you can do. Some people have been playing around with going Assassin first and getting a bunch of thieving cuts and drown cuts into the graveyard, which still count for Mordred, things like that. Water Tristan, what a joke. We're gonna put that at that. I don't think you should ever play Water Tristan when Water Xander exists. There's really not that much good prep counter generation. It just doesn't really do much for you. Water Allen, I really don't think Water Tamer's good in general. Too much setup. And the Water Tamers we have seen, it was more of a mid-range aggressive list. So with that, though, I wouldn't really put Allen as like... Someone may run Allen in their deck and do well, but it's not because of Allen, I would say. I'll put it ahead of Tristan, sure, why not? It's just... The other decks are better, I think. Maybe, hold on, let's do it like that. We'll bump Wind Mordred down. I'll put Wind Allen above Water Allen. Alrighty, we'll do that. Sylvie, Water Sylvie, I'm gonna go low B tier. I think it has potential still, but we're missing some key cards. And the Lynx is probably one of the biggest saviors of it. A lot of the times in Water, you really only are getting access to like Frostsworn and a couple other cards when you might as well just be playing Fire, where you could get access to Cremation and Crater Shock for that draw. Water Rye, I think, is going to be the... See, this is tough, because I know people are playing Battery Acid Rise, things like that. I haven't seen the potential yet. I've played it. I've probably built a horrible version of it. But I just don't think it's as good as any of these decks up here. It gets beaten down very easily. Water Xander. I think Water Xander is the weird gatekeeper deck, is if your deck can beat Water Xander, then your deck's probably decent enough to like top 8 in events. Just because it's very frustrating for newer players to play around it, and so I'm gonna put it in mid B. I gotta rearrange some stuff now. I think it does body win Sylvie. It doesn't really have removal though. That's the issue. Trying to think. Alright, we're gonna swap it. I am going to put it like so. I don't think it can beat Majestic Spirit, so I'm gonna put Wind Merlin ahead of it, and plus Wind Merlin can just bounce Zephyr and stuff, the intercepts in the way. The only thing that it can have potential is Shroud and Mist, but I believe Deer does have True Sight. Water Merlin. I feel like... I'm gonna move it like that. I feel like Water Merlin is a really, really good deck. It's just missing cards that hopefully we know we're getting some to help the deck, but it just doesn't have that finishing touch like Fire Merlin does with Fireball. It has every other tool, defensive options, draw power. It just doesn't have an additional tool to help close out games. I know a lot of people were running sudden still packages with Spirit's Blessing, things like that, but it's not enough because you still feel lackluster, and I know a lot of people have been switching off of Water Merlin into something else. But I still think it's a good deck. It does beat out a bunch of these other decks if it doesn't get aggroed down. We'll throw Fire Lorraine up. Oh gosh, now I'm second thinking a lot of these. We'll throw Fire Lorraine up in S tier. And then, the moment you've all been waiting for, Water Lorraine. I am very biased towards this deck, but this will be an unbiased placement. I think Water Lorraine is probably neck and neck with Wind Lorraine, either in the front or the back. It has so much potential. It was very underdeveloped when the game first came out. People brushed it off and didn't really consider it. I'm not going to say I was the pathfinder for it, but I feel like the amount of time and dedication I put into it, taking it to Ascent, things like that, it opened up my eye about a lot of decks in general, that if you put in effort and actually like consider the meta and card choices, things like that, anything can be really viable. And then after Ascent, of course, there's this huge boom of Water Lorraine. Lunette is a nutty card, especially against ally lists. People never really played her, and then all of a sudden people are like, hey, wait, this makes all of my enemies' allies enter the field rested. This is actually pretty good. And of course, the decks that beat it are decks that can deal with your allies very well or just kill you without caring about it. Gildas, again, is a very strong card. I would honestly say half these decks would not be as good if it wasn't for Gildas, which is a very sleeper hit card. But pretty sure I'm going to double check these right here. And as I am double checking these, I'm pretty sure this is going to be the list. Fire is still probably the most oppressive element and probably the best, because it does have access to draw and a lot of it, opposed to your other ones where you kind of struggle. And the card advantage, Grand Archive is a very unique game where more cards is actually more resources to play cards as well. It's like a 2-for-1. So I'm happy they haven't gone overboard with draw, but they do have to be careful of giving Fire more card advantage like this without helping the other elements a little bit. I already, with all the spoilers, we have about 40% of ALC spoiled, and all the cards out there are going to make so many of these decks better. It's really going to help elevate some of the other elements and have ways to deal with some of these oppressive fire decks. But with that, that is going to be my official FTC tier list. And as I said at the start of this video, I wanted to start a fight, so I want to hear your guys' opinions. Go ahead and comment below if you think I'm totally wrong or if you agree with any of these. And heck, if you feel like you're so inclined to make your own tier list, the link's going to be down below where you can make your own and decide what is the top tier for yourself and your group and what's not. But anyways, everyone, thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.